Hello everyone, we're here to test drive the Smart #1. I know we've already done that before, but this is no ordinary Smart #1. This is the cheapest model you can get in Malaysia, and it's this, the Smart #1 Pro. Now this will be priced at around 200,000 ringgit, and let's see what you lose out compared to the premium. Let's go find out. So we've already done an in-depth walk around of the Smart #1, and you can check it out in the top right-hand corner. Now I just want to illustrate the differences between this and the premium and what you don't get on this car. Now for a start, this car looks about the same, but as you can see, the headlights, these are reflector LEDs. You don't get the matrix LED headlights, which are projector headlights on the premium and the Brabus. Now along the side, the wheels are the same 19 inches in diameter, but they are of a different design, but they're the same size. Along the side, you still get these pop-out door handles, which activate when you unlock the car. As you can see here, this is one thing that's good about this car, because some other EVs, the lower models, you'll have to pull open the door handle yourself. At the back, you still have the same full width, full LED taillights, as you can see here, which give the car a very handsome look. Now, a few other differences as well. Speaking of the lights, the Smart logo on the side is not illuminated like it is on the premium, and that means you don't have the charging indicator that you have on the premium and the Brabus. The other thing that you lose out is the illuminated grille that is available on the premium and Brabus, and that also means you don't get the Tesla style light show that you have on the other models. But apart from that, it looks pretty good still, don't you think? Inside, again, is very similar to the premium model, but there are a few differences. You can see over here, there is no head-up display. The seats are fake leather instead of real leather, and you don't get ventilated seats as well. Other things of note, you don't get the Beat sound system. On the premium, you get a sort of circular tweeter over here with the illuminated Beats logo. You don't have that. Then you have only 5 speakers instead of 13 on models with the Beats sound system. Apart from that, at the back, the car does not have a hands-free tailgate, but you still have powered operation. You have a 9.2-inch instrument readout, and you have a 12.8-inch center touchscreen, and this has wireless Apple CarPlay as well. In here, you still get a wireless charger, so if you put your phone in here, it will charge. As you can see over here, you still get dual cup holders in here, as well as a slot for you to put your phone. And in here, you still have cooled console under the armrest, and you can see the drinks are pretty chilled in here. Now elsewhere, you still have a sliding and reclining rear seat. You got 2 USB-C ports at the front, 1 USB-C port at the rear, together with 1 USB-A port at the back, and you still get a 343-litre boot at the back, and at the front you have a 15-litre boot. Now, in terms of spec, the other thing that you have on this car that is also on the premium is a 360-degree camera system. Now, let's go for a drive. So here we are in the Smart #1 Pro, which, like I said earlier, is the cheapest model in the #1 range. But this does not feel like a cheap car. It shares the same rear motor as the premium, producing 268 horsepower and 343 Nm of torque. That's enough to get the car from 0 to 100 km per hour in 6.7 seconds on its way to a top speed of 180 km per hour. Now this is actually a nice amount of power to have in a car like this one. It gets up to speed very quickly, and because it has instant torque, it's quite nice to dart around through city traffic, and it's actually quite addictive. But it's not so much that you're gonna scare yourself every time you go anywhere near the throttle. So it's quite a nice balance actually. Now the big difference between this and the premium model is the battery. It is actually a slightly more advanced battery. It's a lithium iron phosphate battery rather than the 66 kilowatt hour nickel cobalt manganese battery that you have on the premium, but it's still smaller, so the range is not as far. It can travel up to 315 kilometers on a single charge on the WLTP cycle rather than 440 kilometers on the premium model. Now this might seem like not a lot of range for a car like this one, but I guess it's fine for daily driving. We're currently at 64% charge remaining and we have 189 kilometers of range left as shown in the readout. So it's fine, but it's a bit of a shame considering the price of this car, which is 200,000 ringgit, and the Tesla Model Y and the Tesla Model 3, which is cheaper than this car, have more range. The good thing about this car is that it still supports up to 150 kilowatts of DC charging power, and because it's a smaller battery, it charges from 10 to 80% in just 22 minutes rather than 28 minutes on the premium model. However, you don't get the 22 kilowatts of AC charging that you have on the premium. This one only does 7.2 kilowatts, so the charging from 10 to 80% is 6 hours instead of 3 hours. Now, in terms of handling, this is actually quite a nice car to drive. I do quite like the steering wheel. It is a little bit firm, which I quite like, and it's quite accurate even though there isn't that much feel, so you can place it quite accurately in the corners. The suspension is a little bit stiff, but it's still quite compliant. That means it doesn't bounce around too much in the corners, over bumps. This does feel like it's tuned more for European roads, even though this is made in China. And it does actually handle like a European car as well. This feels very composed in the corners. You can chuck it in the bends and the car will just stick. Couple that with the instant torque that you get from the electric motor, and this is actually quite a nice car to hustle around in the bends. The only slight issue that I have is because the suspension is a little bit stiff and it rides on quite large 19-inch wheels. The ride is a bit firm. It does ride like a continental car, meaning that it's not always going to give you a very smooth and quiet ride. Like for instance, if you go over rumble strips or over ruts on the road, you can feel it, but it's not very uncomfortable. If you're used to driving a BMW or a Mercedes, this will feel quite at home. But if you're coming from something like a Honda or Toyota where it's a little bit softer, you're gonna have to get used to it a little bit. But otherwise, this does feel like a very capable and comfortable car once you get used to the slight firmness, that is. The other thing that you have to get used to is the road noise. I know that the roads in Malaysia are pretty coarse, but even so, even at speeds of 80 kilometers per hour, you do get quite a bit of road noise coming through from the tires. Wind noise is quite well suppressed, and of course there is no engine noise to speak of. Also, we were driving through a bit of rain, and the water droplets, you can hear them quite a bit. It's not too annoying, but it's just something you have to look out for. Now, in terms of driving assistance, the #1 Pro gets most of the features that you get from the premium. So you do have autonomous emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, and lane centering assist for level 2 semi-autonomous driving. The system works very, very well indeed, as expected from most Chinese cars nowadays. It's not quite a Chinese car, but you get the idea. You press the center button of the steering wheel and the car just takes over. It steers for you, and even though it will tell you to keep your hands on the steering wheel, it's really more just so that if anything happens, you can take over, right? Most of the time the car will just handle the steering for you. Going through the bends, it will steer through most highways. It's completely fine. The one thing that I haven't gotten to work is the lane change assist. So this will help you, monitor the blind spots and once the lane is clear, it will just move to the lane that you signal. I haven't gotten it to work, but maybe it'll take me some time to get used to the car, and then maybe I'll be able to get it to work. So far that hasn't happened yet, but even without that, this car's driver assistance systems are actually really good. The one thing that this car doesn't get that the other models do is the smart parking assist, which will detect the road markings, and then it will detect a parking space and it will park by itself. This car doesn't have that, nor does it have the matrix LED headlights. It just has normal reflector LEDs, and I believe it does not have the adaptive high beam that you get on the Premium as well as the Brabus. But otherwise, this has pretty much all of the driver assistance features that you would want. You thought we were done, weren't you? Well, we're not, because we're in the Smart #1 Brabus, the most powerful model, expected to be priced at around 250,000 ringgit. Being that this is a performance model, it gets dual motors, one at the front, one at the rear. Together they produce 422 horsepower and 542 Newton meters of torque. That's enough to get the Brabus from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 3.9 seconds. And when you floor the throttle, the car just pulls. No fuss, no drama, just speed. And I don't know if you can hear it or not, but you do get this sort of simulated exhaust noise coming from the speakers. It's quite exciting, but it can get a little bit loud. Thankfully, you can turn that off. The Brabus does have stiffer dampers compared to the Premium and Pro models. It's still passive, and while you can feel the stiffness, this is not a sporty, like hunkered down race car for the road like you see in some fast EVs. Yes, it is a bit stiffer and you can feel it, but after a while you just forget it. This is still quite a comfortable SUV. It doesn't feel like a sports car per se. The other thing I'm noticing is just how good the basic ingredients of this car is. Everything I said about the Pro model, like the steering and the composure that this car has in the corners, is still here. And that means this is again a very nice car to drive. You just flick it into the corner, the car sticks to the line, and you just squirt on the throttle and the car just goes. You know, this is a very engaging, very fun way of driving. Then again, that's the same with the standard model as well. Now you can look at it two ways. On one hand, this doesn't feel all that much different compared to the standard car, apart from the extra performance that this car gives you. But on the other hand, this doesn't ask too much out of you to get all of this performance. This is not like a sports car or anything that is too harsh. You know, the ride is still quite comfortable, and yet this is still an engaging car to drive when you're in the mood. You know, for 250,000 ringgit, this isn't all that expensive. It is quite a bit more than the Pro model, but you know, this is faster than a Volvo XC40 or C40, and yet it's quite a bit less expensive, or at least that's what's expected. So arguably, the Brabus is quite a good deal. So there you have it, the Smart #1 Pro and the Smart #1 Brabus. Both of these cars are on the opposite ends of the #1 spectrum, and they're both very accomplished cars in their own right. Yes, they are a little bit pricey, but if Smart manages to price these cars below their expected prices, I think they can give the established rivals a real run for their money. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and ring the notifications bell icon so you don't miss any of our future videos. Read all the latest tech news on searchandchow.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter or X, and TikTok as well. As always, stay awesome. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!